Thank Chris Blue, our special guest, and he was just fantastic, and we're so honored and privileged to have him. And I'll ask everyone just to maybe hold applause until I get done with these thanks, because there's a lot of people to thank. The whole effort of the NEDC, is such a big effort, a team effort. And it's far, 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 far from Dr. Keenan. I'm about this much of it because I couldn't do anything, and none of you would be here if it weren't for everyone else. And so I do want to just continue to express my thanks for all that. I want to thank our sponsors here. Some of them, they're written on your bags. We really appreciate their financial support of this so we could have a nice event here. Bank of Tennessee and Parental Hope, they may have some folks here, and we appreciate their assistance over the years, especially. I want to thank all of our staff. Goodness, we have a wonderful staff, don't we? Just everyone is so awesome, and I'm so, yes, thank you. So blessed to be working with each of them. And, we'll start by the girls in the back office that most of you know, at least one or two of them, but Krista Carter, Kelly Seymour, and then our newest staff member, Libby, who's just fit right in. And we're again, really blessed to have them. Just wonderful, wonderful people who have done such good work for all of you, and I can't say enough for them. So, the other staff, L.J. Robinson, is the manager and supervisor for the NEDC. She keeps us going. She runs the books. She kind of oversees everything. Really appreciate that. And then, of course, Mark Mellinger. Mark set this whole thing up. So Mark is just awesome at what he does. Yes, thank you, Mark. We really appreciate everything he's done to get this together, to let you all know about it, and everything he does to keep you informed and to run the social media and relations and do the development so that we can continue to serve folks and get those babies out of the freezer and into your arms. So really appreciate that. The nurses, Linda, who has so much to do with your success and does such a great job with your protocols and emails and hand-holding. She's just wonderful. We thank her so much. Mary, my other nurse, who a lot of you have seen, and we couldn't do it without her. And then the other nurses, Kaylee is relatively newer, but is doing such a great job, and Megan. Our embryologist. So, Carol is going to speak in just a moment, and she's been with us from the inception of the NEDC. I think most of you know our new embryologist, Sarah, and our budding embryologist, Julia. They're really helping out a lot and making Carol's life a little less hectic and busy, and I think she has an occasional weekend to breathe now. So, definitely want to thank the board members, past and present. The NEDC is a nonprofit, and I am not a business guy, and goodness, without their input and advice, I would be sunk. Because half the time I'm trying to go in the wrong direction, and they're saying, but if you do that. And I'm saying, well, why don't we do this? Say, yeah, but this would happen. And, so they reel me back in, and I'm so thankful for the board members. A lot of them, or a few of them are here. Andy Halbert, Marty Bailey. I see Steve and Katie Gilman, Jamie Campbell, Roger Redding, Lauren Wilson, and, who's also with Flourish Consulting, Bill Geiger, Andrew Brenneman, Amber, and Jerry Lacey. So those are our board members, and I really want to mention them and give them a shout out because they are so important to all of you being here and helping run this organization well and efficiently. And then certainly I want to thank the donors, goodness, again, no one would be here if you did not have that wonderful respect for the life of your embryos. And I know there are a number of donors here. Thank you so much for just following God's call on this, knowing that these embryos are human life, despite what you hear in the world at large these days. So we thank them. We thank all of you recipient families. You didn't have to be here, but you came, and we really appreciate it, and we're just thrilled that you're here. And then the family members that support all of the donors and recipients. Goodness, thank you, because these are big decisions that people make. And without support, again, a lot of you wouldn't be here. So the family is so important. Flourish Consulting, so again, Lauren Wilson and Amy Ferguson, our new counselor who does your home study reviews, the ODAs for the open matching, has just been fantastic to work with, and they've been such a big improvement, and we really hope that we know that they're serving you in a very good and efficient and much better way. I want to thank all the volunteers. Goodness, we had a lot of volunteers here today, and again, you've given up a Saturday. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to us and to everyone here that you're helping out. Couldn't do it without you. Want to thank the Christian Medical and Dental Association. They always have our backs. They keep you guys covered up in prayer as you're going through your cycles, and I think half of the good results are just a result of their prayers and support. Want to thank Snowflakes and Kimberly Tyson, who's here from Snowflakes. It's not often that your competitors are your dear friends, but they are, and we have the same mission, the same goal, and we love that they're here and what they're doing, and we're going to continue to collaborate and work together and try and help more and more couples. So, and then of course, John and Allison and Susanna, who's here from Georgia Tech. She's a college gal now, so we're so happy that Susanna was able to make it up, and of course, we're absolutely thrilled that John and Allison are here, and you'll be hearing from him in a moment. And then most of all, I just want to thank my wonderful wife, Sandy, who's the light of my life. You couldn't do any of this without her. She's just been incredible support and blessing to me through all this. And it's not always been a real straight path, and sometimes it's zigzag, and sometimes it's been ups and downs and a lot of bumps, and so she's had to go through that with me, and so just so happy to always have her love and support. So I'm going to say a few words, and I don't know if this should be called a history of the NEDC, or maybe Dr. Keenan complains and moans and whines to God, or maybe God reminds Dr. Keenan that he doesn't have it quite as bad as Job. I don't know, but it really goes along with what Chris Blue was saying about, there are a lot of ups and downs, and there certainly have been a lot of times when I'm wondering what's going on, and so many of them, and so we'll kind of go through some of those. But I moved to Knoxville in 1990, and the practice was great. I was accepted and busy, but the guy that I came to join left, moved away. I got another partner in a year or two, and as it turned out, that was like the worst decision I've made in my life. And because I was very naive at that time. I just kind of thought, everyone loved each other and wanted to get along and things like that, and it really didn't turn out to be that way. So I had a couple of years of very difficult times, I'll say. And I went home to my wife every night and just miserable and complaining, and this is terrible, and, and it was hurting me, psychologically, my sleep. It hurt us financially, some of the things that happened, and it was just, it's like, God, what are you doing? I mean, what's up with this? This is not supposed to be this way. This is not what I asked. I'm just trying to, follow the path you have for me. And we had an IVF program at that time at the university, but really, basically we got along so poorly, the program faltered, and the university finally just shut it down because they said, yeah, this is losing too much money, we can't do this. So I'm thinking, great, so I'm a reproductive endocrinologist, I don't have an IVF lab now, what am I gonna do? And so, that was a terrible predicament. Well, I did find a traveling lab to help me out with things, and so that worked pretty well for a few years. But then, for reasons that were never clear to me, the lab director started complaining about how I was doing things and didn't want me to do things the way I felt I had to do them, and it was just really not working out. So in and about that time, Dave Stevens from the Christian Medical and Dental Association called me up, 1999, and said, hey, Jeff, I know you do some embryo adoption in your own practice, just with your own patients, but what do you think about starting a national organization? And I'm there thinking, well, yeah, Dave, right, that's a great idea, but I mean, that's a lot of work. That's so many moving pieces to that, and how's that going to work? Well, I said, so I'll keep that in mind. We'll keep our options open. Well, so my practice had grown to the point where it was just way too big for the little office I have. UT, which is an enormous complex, didn't have any space for me. And it's like, this is a, 5 gazillion square foot facility, and you can't get me a bigger office. And so, so it's again like, oh man, this is terrible. What am I gonna do? Well, lo and behold, Baptist Health Systems was opening a new building in Turkey Creek area in West Knoxville. And they said, gee, we'd really like you to consider building an office. And so I said, okay, well, I might be interested. I need a bigger office. And would you all be at all interested in supporting a new embryo donation center, that would be national in scope? And so one thing led to another, and they said yes. And then with CMDA and Bethany Christian Services, we were able to get this rolling. We incorporated in 2003, had our first embryo transfer. A short time later, that very first embryo transfer resulted in twins. So I thought, yep, this is good. This is what God wants us to do. Everything is great. So things are perking along just fine. A few years later, the health system goes under. They're bought by St. Mary's Health System, and they said, Dr. Keenan, we're Catholic and we don't do assisted reproductive technology here, which I fully, 100% completely understand, and you can't have your practice here anymore. So I went from, the mountaintop, down to the valley again, and it was really, really difficult. So I'm thinking, well, where in the world are we gonna, relocate? And this is a big deal, relocating everything. I'm not gonna have the same people, the same processes, everything's going so well. Got to almost start from scratch again. So, God, what are you doing? I mean, it wasn't supposed to be this way. I thought this is what you want me to do. So I tried to find another space. Found a space, I thought, this will work. Well, it wasn't ideal, but it was pretty good, and I thought it would work. So, it was a medical office condo, so to speak. So they had a price set on it, and I thought, yeah, obviously, that's always the price. I had a, realtor. I said, well, we'll offer them this much, and they said, no, we're not going to take it. And so, I said, well, I really want this space. So I said, okay, well, we'll give you this much. And they said, no, thanks. And so I did it one more time, and they said, nope, we're not going to do it, for anything but the asking price. So I said, fine, I'll give you the asking price. Well, they came back and said, no, we're not going to do it. And so it's like, have you ever heard of someone not accepting the asking price? I never had. And so it's like, boom, I get my knees knocked out from under me again. And I'm thinking, God, what's happening? I need a space. This is your work. We've got to have a good space. So then the only thing I can find, and some of you had transfers there in this room, was this really tiny space near where we are now that was wholly inadequate. Carol's office was a little indentation in the hallway. So it was tough. We were all cramped and crowded together. It was dark. So I'm kind of miserable there. But then I get a call from a realtor and patient friend of mine who said, Jeff, I think you should put a bid in on this building. She knew I was looking for something. Well, the subprime mortgage crisis in 2008 had just occurred, and the stock market tanked, and the mortgage or the real estate industry tanked, and so I'm thinking there's no way. This is like Farragut on Kingston Pike, prime real estate. There's no way I can afford this. And so I said, okay, well, Solange, I'll go ahead and put a bid in on it, but I just can't afford this. And she said, well, go ahead and do that. Well, lo and behold, the bank said yes. So that was amazing that we were able to do that. And less than a year later, we had built out the new space, and once again we were in a really good situation, but we were getting so busy, and so. We had been praying for years to have a partner come and help out, because I knew I couldn't do it all, and I knew I couldn't do it forever, and so I'm sending out flyers and emails and getting on the professional job posting sites everywhere, and no one that was anywhere near acceptable to do this. And so it's once again, I'm thinking, okay, God, I could probably work till about 90 or so, but after that, I'm going to call it quits. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on? Why can't we find anyone to help? I think this is what we're supposed to be doing, and yet, it's not working out. And so then John calls me out of the blue. Hadn't seen any of the things that I had done to try to get the whole country aware of this, because he's so busy in his practice. And really that call, I just knew, okay, this is probably going to be it. So I thought, oh, great. This is really, what we needed, what we've been praying for. I go home, I tell Sandy about it, and, we're thrilled, and the board is thrilled. Yeah, it's what we've been praying for. And then John comes back and says, well, Jeff, this is good, and I want to do it. I think this is going to be good, but it's going to be about 3 years before I can get there. And so, I'm just like, oh man, not again, because I just knew that John was going to, over that 3 years, they wanted him there. He was like, a big producer there, that he was going to change his mind. He's going to get a better offer. He's going to say, no, I can't move to Knoxville or whatever. So I'm thinking, this is just terrible. Well, lo and behold, I didn't know, but things after John had made that decision, some really bad things started to happen in his practice as well. And so, he's no doubt saying the same things. God, what in the world are you doing? This is terrible. And how can this be going on? And so eventually they got so bad, and that he called me up and said, okay, Jeff, I decided I'm coming. I'll be there in 2 months. And so I said, oh, 2 months, huh? Okay, well, wasn't quite ready for that, but I think we can figure out something. So we scrambled like heck, and then we're able to make it work. And so, here we are now with John here and doing such good work. And so we're on top of the mountain again. And so what an amazing journey it's been. I mean, who'd have thought back in 1999 when Dave called me, in 2004-ish when we did our first transfer, that we'd be here, 17 years later celebrating 1,000 births. And we're actually much, much closer. We're only a few away from 1,100 right now. So, I mean, just an awesome, awesome thing. Patients and donors from all 50 states and even about half a dozen foreign countries. We're on track for, I don't know, how many embryo transfers this year, John? About 270 embryo transfers this year. I mean, just an amazing number. Pregnancy rates are through the roof. But then most of all, with the foundation that our friends at Snowflakes had laid, in the embryo adoption field, and the good fortune that we've had with being able to do lots of transfers, have lots of pregnancies. Most of the clinics around the country have had our patients, and they see what a good thing this is. And so embryo adoption has gained notoriety, as well as the NEDC. And then, a large number of other groups and organizations, practices, have jumped on board and have decided to pursue embryo adoption as well. So, I mean, it's just been an awesome thing. And, I'm thinking, even at some point, and hopefully before 90, I will be able to retire now. But on the other hand, at what cost? Because, there has been a significant amount of cost. Professional recognition, I mean, they know about us, but they don't like us. Even our parent body really has a kind of a little bit of a bad feeling about us and has made some disparaging comments because we hold life to be sacred and we don't think embryos should be discarded. And you all know we believe in the biblical view of marriage and the sanctity of marriage, and the children should be brought up by a mother and father. And that is not what the world is saying out there, y'all. I'm sure you know that. But yeah, so we get our share of, we get more than our share of criticism for that. And the last several years, we have not gotten any of the federal grants because of our position on these issues. And those are millions of dollars. So we have none of that. And then, financially, you spend so much time on things. We try to do everything very cost effectively, but that's not been a focus of ours. Time. Oh my gosh, it's been an enormous amount of my time. It still is. And all I can say is that's why my handicap is still 14, because I just do not have any time or much time to get out there and do some of the other things that I'd hopefully one day might get a chance to enjoy. So, it's the NEDC, is pretty simple. The mission statement is to facilitate the process of embryo donation and adoption, educate the lay and medical communities so as to increase the practice of these options, and to work to increase respect for the life and dignity of the human embryo. And so that really says it all. It's not about money, not about power, not about fame, just really a heartfelt desire to help struggling families and to do the work and follow the path that God has put before us. So that's where we are today. I mean, no doubt, something will happen that will be difficult. But what have I learned through all this, and kind of what Chris was talking about? We are favored and we are chosen, and God will get us through it. So fight the good fight. Remember that God knows about your problems, and can and will use them for good and for his good purposes. I need to be more trusting in the Lord. We usually don't know what he's up to. So many of these times, it just left me wondering and questioning, God, what are you doing? But he has a plan. And then, when all is said and done, if you take that course, you may not, have the wealth, the power, the fame that you'd ideally, maybe from a secular or worldly perspective like to have. But you'll have peace, joy, integrity, contentment. All those come together to equal a lot of happiness. And so those are infinitely more valuable. So that's what I've learned through all this. I hope, all of you will think about that through your hardships and trials in life. And God does have a plan for every one of you and for every one of these beautiful children. And I'm just so happy that you're here and celebrating with us. And everyone, God bless and good luck and safe travels back. So thank you.